Hi everyone, Chris Nansky here with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion tip of the week live on Facebook. Today what I want to talk about is a little talk I've entitled Self-Care is the Best Healthcare. So, if you've been watching my videos here for a while, you've been reading my blogs, you've obviously heard me talk about the important idea of service in terms of what we do and what we bring to the world, and how a high degree of service is the magic for, the secret ingredient to a magic life. And particularly when we find out something that we love to do, that we're great at, and we combine that with highly serving others, we've got the recipe for a championship life. However, one thing I've noticed, and in my own life as well, is that people who are really committed to serving, oftentimes the person that they least end up serving is themselves. They give and give and give, and pretty soon what's happening is they're giving from an empty tank. And it's like one of my teachers once said is we don't want to give from that place. We want to take care of ourselves first so we can help take care of others. Let me say that again. We take care of ourselves first so we can help take care of others. So today I kind of thought I'd talk a little bit about the importance of self-care, and know when I'm shooting these videos and I'm sharing this with you, I'm saying this as much to myself as I am anybody else. So, why is self-care so important? Well, number one is it really helps us in terms of taking care of all aspects of ourselves, emotionally, physically, spiritually, etc. And the other thing that I wanted to share with you is you can only give fully from a full heart. So you can only give from what you have. And so oftentimes when you're not filling yourself up first, you're running on empty. Right? And so what ends up happening is you become even resentful and irritable because you have nothing left to give. So you can't really give what you don't have. And so when you fill yourself up first, then what happens is you're able to give from the overflow, and you're able to show up powerfully and mindfully with the people that you were meant to serve. And then finally, what the thing is you create a distinction between being a caregiver and a caretaker. In my mind, a caregiver is someone who gives fully and actually from that place helps people to actually lift themselves up. So you're empowering people in your giving because you're giving from an empowered state. Versus caretaking, you're giving from an exhausted state and you're just allowing people to become dependent on you. So you can only give from a full heart, you can't give what you don't have, and you want to be a caregiver versus a caretaker. And so what does that mean for us? Well, there's a lot of talk nowadays on the national political scene about healthcare, right? And doggone it, I think that everyone deserves adequate healthcare, affordable healthcare to really keep themselves going. And this is not going to be a political statement at all. All I want to say is everyone, I believe, deserves that. However, I believe that the first responsibility, the primary responsibility for our care comes with ourselves. It starts with us. It starts with us having proper nutrition, having mindful moving and exercise, proper rest, and also our spiritual practices, our emotional practices. It's our primary responsibility to take care of ourselves first. And then health care that we have happens if we do have an illness that we can't take of ourselves. But the majority of that responsibility rests with us. So what I want to share with you today are 3 things that I think can really help us on this journey. And I know it's going to be things that I'm going to continue to look at as well. And the first thing is when you're considering self-care, and when you do this way, self-care becomes the best healthcare, right? And so the first thing is make a list. Make a list of the things that you love to do to take care of yourself. Walks in nature, meditation, proper nutrition, your spiritual practices, maybe doing yoga, riding your bike, getting out of nature, whatever that is that fills you up. And when you're looking at this list, make sure it's things that you like to do. There are certainly things that are good to do for you, like maybe running is good, but if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it on a consistent level. So identify the things that you love to do that take care of yourself and make that list. Second of all, what I want you to do is schedule those activities. And here's what I mean. Many times we say we want to do things to take care of ourselves. We're going to eat better. We're going to get more rest. But we don't get disciplined about it. We don't actually schedule it in our calendars. So if there's things you want to do, like take a yoga class, or you want to go out with your spouse or significant other, schedule those and make those anchors in your calendar. Because we all know that life happens really fast. And what happens is if you say, I'm going to get to it at the end of the day, nature abhors a vacuum, and something's going to get in the way of your self-care. And then you're going to be left at the end of the day, probably too tired to do anything. So schedule those and anchor them. And then finally, practice, practice, practice. Look at your self-care as a practice, as a sacred practice for yourself, something that you look forward to, something that you're committed to. And if you get off track and if you make a mistake and there isn't as good of a session as you'd like, don't judge yourself. Be kind on yourself. And if you miss a day, be okay as well. But here's the kicker. You can miss a day, but don't miss 2 days, right? So make sure that you're committed to that self-care practice, because when you do that, my friends, when I do that, what it allows us to do is show up as the most powerful person we can be so that we can make the impact on this planet we were designed to do and serve people at the very highest level that we can. So that's my message for you today. That's my challenge for you. Make that list, plan it, and then practice it so that you can be a self-care maven that can just do some awesome things in this world. So thanks for listening. This has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share. If you have someone that you really think could be served by this, make sure you send it to them as well. And if you have other topics that you think you'd like to hear me speak on, please shoot those as well. Shoot those over as well. So anyway, been great speaking to you today, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.